no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here, we're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked, and you know the spiel. Every time it's the same. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, X, and most importantly, every single Thursday night, and yes, I mean tonight, 10 p.m. Central Time on the Genesis TV network. Go check us out. You should be able to check out me and Ray Ivy. If you missed that show, go to Genesis TV tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time and check it out. Look, guys, we're here. I got my man Blaze Ray. He's already here with me. Blaze, what's up, brother?
What's up, dude?
I don't know it, man. Look, you and Chris Rocker, I was going through some stuff, and you and Chris Rocker are running neck and neck for the most appearances on Buster Unmasked. I actually think he's one ahead of you right now, dude.
I gotta get another one in then.
There you go, man. Y'all are running neck and neck. I'll have to get an award one day for the guest for the most appearances, dude. But look, man, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to have some fun today. Look, dude, obviously we're going to get an injury update on you, your original injury with your foot and your ankle. You got a new injury we're going to hear about, dude. Quake at the Lake coming up in October. We're going to talk about that. And then after that, man, we're going to talk wrestling. Big-time wrestling, small-time wrestling, all-time wrestling. Whatever comes up, we're going to talk about. But look, man, am I going to have to wrap you in bubble wrap, dude? or are we, dude? I need to know, man. Look.
Man, that's what
go ahead, man. Give us an update on what's going on, brother.
Me. You know, I get through with one, you know, and get over something else, and then something else comes along, you know.
Well, look, man, your ankle, your foot, how's it doing?
It actually, my ankle and my foot feels a lot better, you know. I'm getting around better on it. You know, I can tell that there's more movement in it than what it was and all that, you know. So it's definitely better. And then now you got the problem, you know, with the other injury, you know.
Well, you got your finger smashed in a big metal door, right?
Right. At work. Matter of fact, it happened at work. You know, I work at the detention center over in Hickman, Kentucky.
Oh man, I can imagine one of those doors, dude.
Yeah, it was one of those big old cell doors, like the steel doors.
Right.
Come back and got it.
Man, did it cut any of your fingers off? What did it actually do to your hand?
It come very close to cutting one of them off. It broke the two. I don't know if anybody can see, but the two, my left ring and middle finger, broke both of them on the ends. And then it cut, when it smashed, it cut straight through my nail bed. So my nail bed, you know, could end up being permanently damaged or something, you know.
Right. What about your tendons? Did you slice any tendons?
Not that I know of, that he didn't say. I know he said the bones and stuff were definitely broken there for sure.
Right. You'd know if you sliced a tendon because you wouldn't have been able to work your finger, man. One time I cut the tendon in my thumb, cut it down to the bone, and went to the hospital, gonna get it sewed up, but my thumb wouldn't work. And they didn't even ask me nothing about it. They just cleaned it up, was finna sew it up. And I said, hey, well, what if my thumb won't work? Well, they said, what do you mean? I mean, I can't control it. It will not work. And then they said, went to looking closer and realized I done sliced the tendons. I went into emergency surgery right then, dude. You're lucky, dude.
Yeah, he said I was very lucky. Like I said, he said I was very close to losing that ring finger,
Right. Man, you're gonna have to be careful, dude. We're gonna have to hire somebody to go around with you, man, and I don't want to say baby proof everything, but we're gonna have to blaze proof everything, dude.
Yeah, because like I said, I get through one thing and it's like something else comes along,
Well, look, all right. Let's take the fingers out right now. Say the fingers was never happened. How close are we to being back in the ring before this happened?
Hey, that's something. I get asked that a lot. Even not on the podcast. I get asked that. When I show up at random shows, or whether it be Pro Wrestling in South, when I go into my announcing duties and stuff there. I get asked all the time, from people in the crowd, other workers and stuff. Hey, man, when are you gonna get back in the ring? When are you gonna get back in the ring? And a lot of times, I have to tell them, I don't know, or I plan this date, but then that doesn't happen. But and that was one of them things too, to where I kind of got, being out. I've been out over, let's see, December 30th of 2022. Was the last match that I wrestled. It was that last Saturday of the year, December of 2022. And then I had the surgery the following week. So I've been out well over a year now,
Right. What's that like to you, man, being out that long? Because I know you've been dying to get back in the ring since it happened. So obviously, like I said, you've been on a few times, and 6 or 7 months ago, maybe a little earlier than that when we talked, you thought you'd be back in the ring by now.
I did. I actually did. And I keep setting this timeline on when I want to get back. And then, like I said, now I got the stuff with my fingers, and all that. But it's one of them things too, to where, like I said before, when I come back, I don't want it to be something where I come back just for a short, that little amount of time, and not be fully healed, and then something happen,
Right. Well, what kind of timeline you looking at with your fingers now, dude?
My fingers, he said it could be anywhere to 9 months to fully heal.
Wow.
But the good news on that is, he said, were I guess where they're broke at, or wherever the injury occurred on my fingers, if they don't fully heal or they don't heal right, it shouldn't affect me any, because it's right there on the end.
Right. You didn't have to have no surgery or nothing on this.
He went in the day that I went up there and seen him. He went in that very day, and he scraped the bone out. And he cleaned. He had to pop my nails off, sewed them back on, to protect it until the new nails grow in. But other than that, no major surgery yet, or no surgeries that I know of is going to happen,
Dude, man, look, when I had my surgery, they just didn't it. I like literally the whole time they were operating on me, I was on the operating table, and the big old light thing's got a silver thing, and it's so reflective. I watched them. Pretty much watched them do everything.
Yeah, I was awake the whole time that he done it. I was sitting there talking to him and everything,
Dude, they clamped some big old hemostats on the end of my tendons, and had to stretch them tendons, because when you cut a tendon, that sucker will roll up.
Right.
It'll roll up on each end, man, and it'll be a ball. So, man, they had to stretch each side out to reconnect them. And I watched them do all this. Never felt nothing, man. Dude, the next morning when I got up, man, I could feel where they had stretched that tendon. I could feel everything that I watched them do. I could feel it inside my fingers. So how was you the next morning after they cleaned it out and scraping the bone? How was you the next morning?
Oh, man, it hurt. I'm not gonna lie. It hurt. I was in pain, like I didn't realize how much pain I was gonna be in until after, the adrenaline, I guess, it stopped flowing,
Right.
Because I knew I was hurt at the time when it happened, But after that, once everything wore down and all that stuff, yeah, I could tell I was, hurting pretty good.
Yeah, you already hurt from the injury, but you don't expect all that. Like after the doctor goes in and does all this stuff, you don't really expect to feel that the way you do, man. And it gets so sore. My finger got so sore, it hurt so bad.
Right, yep. And the thing too was when he went in, they waited so long. They come in, he looked at it, he figured out what he wanted to do, he numbed it and everything. It took him forever to come in there because he's waiting on me to numb.
Right.
Well, we finally thought I was numb. He come in there, he popped the first nail off. I didn't feel him pop the nail off. But when he got in there and he started scraping that bone, it started burning real bad.
Right.
And I was like, I said, am I supposed to feel any of this? Is it supposed to be burning or something? He said, a little bit. He said, how bad are you burning? And I was like, it's burning pretty bad. He said, yeah, you're not numb. So they had to go in and double numb it.
Right. Yeah, man. That's really I take it back. My gallbladder a year or so ago was really the only major surgery. But before that, the only surgery I had was on my thumb. Bad part about it, I'd been invited to the power plant. And I was outside grilling. I was getting ready to grill this big Boston butt, and I was cutting some fat off of it. And my dumb ass, instead of going away from me, this one time for some reason, I cut the fat towards me. And man, the fat gave and the knife just shot right into my thumb. Like I said, it cut it right to the bone, man. When I got through, I didn't even realize the tendon was hurt at first. You could see the bone. Lucky I didn't hurt the bone or nothing, but it hurt the tendon. But screwed that up, man. Hell, it took me. Shit, it was probably 60 days probably before I actually got my hand unwrapped. Period.
Right.
Once they were through, they wrapped it up in a bandage and Cobain cast it, and they kept it bent a certain way so that tendon could heal.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, man, when I finally got it off, man, and the first couple times you go to work that thumb or straighten it out, it hurts like hell, man. That tendon's got to stretch out, and it still never works. Like the tip of it won't bend. So you're lucky, dude, man.
That's that's what everybody tells me. Lucky I can still move them. I've still got my fingers and everything. So
Well, look, man, you mentioned you're doing some announcing at Pro Wrestling Mid-South. I had Greg on here last week, and we talked a lot about Pro Wrestling Mid-South. We talked a lot about everything.
Right.
Talk to me about what you got going on, what your announcer's duties entail and stuff, and how you like it, man.
It's good. It's one of them things, where I'm not wrestling, or I'm not in the ring wrestling, but I'm still there,
Right.
I'm still part of the show, to where I'll come out, I'll announce all the big announcements, and then I do the guys' weights, where they're from, put basically like you see like a ring announcer on WWE do, pretty much.
Right.
I do all that, and then outside of that, try to, like I said, trying to get through to the young guys in the back and stuff, and teach them what I know, and the right way to do things,
Right.
Outside of that, going back to asking, when people asking about when my in-ring return is going to be and stuff, I still don't have a full set date yet, but it's one of them things there for a while. The doctor, like I said, the doctor told me I never wrestle again,
Right.
But that's most doctors around here that does a major surgery, major works on you, is going to tell you that because they're going to be scared, you're going to mess up their work.
Right.
But this is one of them things, I went and I was like, maybe they're right, maybe I am done, but then I started thinking, this is my dream, this is something that makes me happy outside of my family, that's my happy place, and I'm not going to sit and watch my dream fade away, So what I've got planned and what I plan on doing is once these fingers heal up, I'm fixing to hit it hard. I'm gonna hit it hard, I'm gonna try to cut down a few pounds, so it maybe be easier on the ankle,
Right.
I got to leave my, I got to start leaving the vapes alone, start eating a little bit right, and, just see where it goes from there,
Got to get back in ring shape, man.
Got to get back in ring shape, man. That's one of them things, I was sitting there thinking the other day, these people, you got these people saying you'll never wrestle again and stuff, and these people that's against it, some's against it because they don't want to take the chance of seeing me get hurt again.
Right.
And then you just got some that I guess based off the injury, said it's not possible. But I'm one of them ones when I set my mind to something, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
So
you can't give up. You can't give up on yourself, dude.
Right. And that's something I've dealt with a lot during this injury, and with the fingers and stuff. It's gotten so bad at one point. Even now, sometimes I slip into a state of like anxiety or depression, where I'm like where I get mad at the world. I get bitter and stuff like that. Because here's something that I like to do, and all these people are telling me you'll never do it, again, and it feels like that's been ripped away from me, and then I become bitter.
Right.
But then I sit there and think, when it comes time for it, you look at guys like Randy Orton, Paige, Edge, all them guys were told they weren't going to wrestle again.
Right.
But the difference in me and them is, they got back in the ring. They had all this help. They had the high-priced fancy doctors, the high-priced trainers, the fancy physical therapists or whatever. When I get back in there, it's going to be on my own wheel,
Right. And you're talking about cardio, man. Here's the thing I don't think people realize about ring shape. Look, man, you can do all the running, you can do all the stair stepper, all the bicycle, and all that you want to do, and it helps your cardio, but you can't get into pro wrestling ring shape without actually being in the ring, because it's different than anything else.
It's way different.
You can practice the moves, but you cannot practice the endurance and the cardio.
Yep.
You need to be in there, because the thing about wrestling, it's just not having great cardio. It's also knowing how to pace yourself, too, because I've seen guys who are in immaculate condition blow up in 2 minutes, because sometimes it's just because you get nervous or you get anxious out there, and you go to just going 90-0, and it'll getting nervous out in the wrestling ring or anxious will blow you up faster than anything.
Right. Yep.
So
you got them. They'll sit there, and you got these guys that'll go in the back. They call 1,000 spots in the back, and then they get out there and get blowed up. And then they can't remember the spots.
Right.
Because you're blowed up and you can't think straight. So
or you just ain't got the wind. You ain't got the wind to run the spots, even if you know them. So
right. So I've always been on one of them ones. When I was full time and I was active in the ring, let's walk and talk. And that's what I tell everybody in there. Learn the method of walking and talking.
Right.
Because you can call 1,000 things in the back and go out and do it, to pop yourself or pop the boys, but don't mean the crowd's going to react to it.
And that's what matters in the end.
And you got to, that's what I tell them. Go out there, walk it out. Like if me, being in it so as long as I'm working with a rookie, they'll be like, hey, what do you want to do? I'll be like, we're going to walk and talk. And I'll be like, and then I'll ask them, what can you do? What can you not do?
Right.
And then I'll piece that together, when we're out there with the crowd. If the need's for it, we'll do it. If not, then we'll just leave it out.
Well, here's the thing. If you got especially say a guy straight out of training who really only had a couple matches, maybe never had any, the best thing to do with them is take them out there and stick to the very basics. Mm-hmm. Lock up, snatch a headlock takeover, head scissors, maybe some arm drags. No, anytime I work a guy who's just starting, unless I've seen them and know that they can do this stuff and know it, I always like to just keep it simple, basic pro wrestling, because it helps them learn that the foundations, everything's built off the foundation. You can't build a house from the roof down. You got to build it from the bottom up, and I get that, dude. I see too many young guys go in there and they want to run these big spots, and really They need to be working on their basics, you know.
The basics, learning the basics.
Look, we got Eric J with us. He says, what's going on, guys? Eric, what's up, dude?
What's up,
Here's
Eric?
your show. Eric, here's your show, man. Here in just a minute, we finna talk Quake at the Lake, and then we go into straight just talking wrestling. So if you got any questions or any comments, anybody out there watching does, tonight's the night. Quake at the Lake, dude. Let's talk about it. Last year, first Quake at the Lake, turned out awesome turnout, great show.
Mm-hmm.
I see it's back again. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, you know, we had a good turnout last year. You know, it was like I said, that Arts and Crafts Festival has been around for 50-something years. You know,
right?
And it draws thousands and thousands of people, not just from this area, but from around the United States, the country in general, every year. You know, so when it was made last year, you know, I went into that concept when I was putting it together, and you know, me and Cody Bowers, who is our audio guy at Pro Wrestling South, we were thinking, how, you know, we want to do something, but what can we do different? You know, what can we do that's different from everybody else? You know, not to step on anybody's toes and stuff like that. And that's where we came up with the Quake at the Lake. You know, we had a good turnout. You know, the show was top notch. You know, everybody was pleased with the overall product and the layout of the show. You know, that they asked us to come back this year.
Always a good thing. Anytime they asked you back, you know you did right, man. You know it was good. So talk to me about this show. Obviously, I'm assuming you want to make it bigger than last year's show. So
absolutely. I want to try to make, you know, if we can make this an annual thing, you know, every year, if we keep giving them the product they want and they keep asking us to come back, I want each year to be better than the year before, you know.
It's in October. What's the actual date?
It is October 5th, I believe.
Okay. I knew last year's was in October. Cool festival, man. A cool wrestling show. I liked it. The footage I seen of it, I thought it was a real cool concept, cool show, outside show. I always loved outside. I loved outside shows other than when it's in the middle of the hottest summertime, man. We used to do these baseball field shows. Man, they'd go out there and they'd set the ring up 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it sets in the 110-degree sun all day until bell time. Usually bell time's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's usually an afternoon. It was an afternoon show, a midday show. Man, you could not take a bump. You couldn't do literally. The first one I ever worked, man. Of course, I wore I had a full bodysuit. Only thing was uncovered on me was from my elbows down, pretty much. So I didn't really have to worry about it as bad as everybody else. But even me, man, the first bump I took and I hit down and my arm hit the canvas, man, set me on fire, dude. They had to start putting a tarp over it after that because man, them canvases, you sitting in the middle of a baseball field, no trees, no shade, and that sun's beaming down. Man, it don't take long for that ring to become a hot plate, dude.
Yeah. And that's kind of what, it's kind of what we ran into last year. You know, most of the time, September, October, it's warm, but it's not that hot.
Right.
You know, and here lately, it's gotten to where them months, are hotter than normal. So,
yeah,
we ran into that problem where it got pretty warm, It got pretty warm, but we still managed, the guys had water and stuff like that, and like I said, we had an overall good show, and they asked us to come back this year, and we're gonna try to come back even better.
Right. Yeah, I love outside shows, man. Get a little bit of wind blowing. There ain't nothing quite like working outside in the wrestling ring. Get, like I said, sun shining, a little bit of breeze blowing, man. It's a whole different thing than being in a building. To me, it is. I always enjoyed it better.
That's one of them things too. I haven't started actually lining up talent yet for the event because it's 6-7 months away. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. But I'm like I said, I'm working on the sponsors and stuff. I'm kind of getting a general idea, of where we stand with sponsors, and kind of, just basically booking this crap out,
right
on how I want it to go, and kind of brainstorming names, to use for talent and all that stuff,
Right. You got plenty of time. Like you say, I mean, it's hard to book this far out anyway, because you never know what's going to happen, man. You never know. You can book a whole show right now and half of it will fall out before showtime,
Right.
especially when it's that long away. I look for it to be a success, man. Last year was good. The fans were into the show. I don't see it being nothing but bigger and better this year, man.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to, like I said, if they continue to like what we do, and keep bringing us back, I want to make it better every year.
Well, let me ask you this: is this your first little taste of booking, or have you done some booking before?
I haven't actually went out and booked an actual show like at a company.
Right.
I mean, I've put together some benefit shows. I've booked some benefit shows, some fundraiser shows. And then I've ran the locker room a couple times. When book or promoter's not there. And if I had to change something on the fly, just had to change it.
Right.
But that's one thing that if I don't get back into the ring, I'm just saying if, that is something I do want to do more of, or find a spot somewhere to either book or co-book so I can show what I know and my knowledge, and I'm not just sitting here, talking and they're like, this guy don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I love it, dude. That's it's a whole new layer to the wrestling business. If you're a wrestler and that's kind of where you've been, if you're into booking and you want to try booking, man, it opens up a whole new avenue of creativity, man. Because I mean, it's your show. It's your opportunity to kind of put your ideas out there and just see what happens with them. And it's wrestling. It's sometimes wrestling's about throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. What falls off, you just scrape to the side. What sticks, you work with, and then you throw new shit against the wall next time and see what sticks. And I like booking, dude. To me, it's that's where you really can get into your creativity, because it's one thing to be a talent and you're constructing your matches. You get to do your creativity in your matches, but when you kind of get to be the creative force behind the whole show, behind every match, every booking, why these two guys are booked against each other and all this different stuff, man, there's a lot more than plays into booking a wrestling show, a good one, than just throwing two guys in a ring because you think they'll have a good matchup. Because there's a lot of times you put guys on paper that you think, well, man, this would be a great matchup, and you stick them in the ring and you realize, oh, that was a fuck up, man.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah,
be two over guys, but for some reason they just don't gel or it just don't work. So it's not always about, man, I got this guy over here who's over to this much and this guy over here. Obviously, we put them together, it's going to be used. Well, it don't always work out that way. Sometimes you put them together and you damn near kill both of them off if you don't watch out,
Yeah, that's something, I've learned more, when I sit down and I pick the minds of these vets, who do book and stuff, on the reason they book ways of certain things that they do, So I try to pick their minds. So I'm like, okay, why? If this and this, then why do you do it this way, Or, for example, you put these two guys in your opener, and then you got these two guys in your second match, and then these two guys are your main, why do you have them there, or what's the logic for placing them in the order that they're in,
Right.
And the thing I've always been told, if I'm, like with me at Quaking Lake, if I'm booking, which I'll be doing a lot of that, with Quaking Lake stuff. And when I put my card together, I want it to be where my opening match, I want every match on my card to be good,
Right.
But sometimes that don't happen, somebody might have a bad day or something like that. But I especially want my first match and my main event to be my best too,
Right. Your first match, man, for me, most of the time, truthfully, the first match is either equally as important as the main event. Maybe you ask different people, they tell you they have different opinions. I personally think the first match a lot of times is the most important match on the show, because That's the match that sets the tone for the rest of the night. If you go out there and shit the bed in the first match, every match after that's going to have to work 10 times as hard to try to get the crowd back into the show. Where if you go out, you have a banger first match, everybody after that, their job is easier. People's already ready. They're already fired up. All you got to do is go out there and perform and do it, and it's easier. You don't have to work as hard to get the people, draw the people back into it, man.
Yep. And see, my concept too on that is, if, like, for example, with the Quake at the Lake show, that's a festival. So there's vendors there. There's all this stuff there. If somebody's walking by, and they hear, hey, there's wrestling over there, and they stop and look, if they look at that first match, and say, hey, this is great. I think I might sit down and watch this, Or if this is a drizzling crap, I ain't worried about that. I'm going to go on and do about my business. Same thing with booking a regular show, on a weekly basis or monthly basis, something like that. That first match is their first impression of your product.
Right.
And then your main event, to me, is to give them something good to come back with, to give them a reason to want to come back.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you want every match like that, but that match, has to have that boom to it,
Send them home with something.
Send them
home with
home
something.
Yep, to remember, to want to come back.
Well, look, dude, talking about booking, man, let's talk about AEW, since we're going to talk about big-time wrestling or just wrestling in general. Man, look, I watched Dynamite late last night after the podcast. I probably watched it from 9:30 to 11:30, whatever, man. Here's my opinion, dude. AEW has to be the worst book wrestling company maybe in the damn near the history of wrestling. It's UWF, and I ain't talking about Bill Watts UWF. It's UWF level bad booking, man. Look, Okada. Look, here's the thing. How do you bring a guy in like Okada, who was such a big star in Japan? Obviously, he don't have that same clout over here, but the thing about wrestling is, if you bring him in and treat him like he's the most important signing you've ever had, not just for AEW, but you don't have to say, hey, the WWE missed out on this guy, we got him. You can put him over enough to where people start realizing and thinking, man, they got him in WWE, didn't, but you got to treat him like a star.
You can't.
They brought him in. Look, they brought him in, put him immediately with the Young Bucks, which I'm going to be honest with you. I think everything, look, they're good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that, but that's all they do. And that's all you're ever going to get out of them is what they do. They're not a team that goes out there and can wrestle with other people in their style. If you're not doing Young Buck stuff, they're not working with you. You're not working with them. Immediately you stick Okada with them. Why, man? If it had been me, I would have been building for, you got Will Ospreay there now, but my goal would have been to build Okada Omega for America. First time they've done it over here. I mean, obviously to me, that's the thing, but they done made, look, in two TV appearances, I don't give a shit what Okada does now. So give me your thoughts, man. No, have you watched any other product lately?
The last thing I watched AEW wise was Revolution. I watched the pay-per-view. Like I said, I've been kind of behind a little bit on watching the actual events, the actual product. So right. I try to keep up with the pay-per-view so I don't get so far behind, on what's going on. But yeah, I'm like you, that's one of them things, that's just bad booking.
Look, I wrote a little post last night about it, and I said it's Edge all over again. Here's the thing. These guys are already stars. Some of this shit ought to be unfuck-upable. It's as simple as that. I mean, how do you bring Edge in? I don't care what his position was in the WWE. He might not have been the top dog when he left there, but he was still one of the most over-featured guys in anything they did. They treated him like a star. All you had to do was bring him in and treat him as such. Look, I love Christian and stuff, but I don't think they should have brought Edge in and immediately stuck him in stuff with Christian. He should have been in the world title picture. Same thing with Okada. Okada shouldn't be out there with the Young Bucks posing and running spot fest matches. He should be immediately the guy. This is the guy coming to take the world title from whoever's got it. It does not matter. And even Edge, even though he wasn't in the world title picture in WWE, there wasn't no reason why he shouldn't have been in the world title picture for AEW. I mean, you got Edge, MJF. Who else really? Daniel
You got
Bryan.
Joe.
Joe's the best champion they got. Joe's the best thing they've done recently, dude.
You know, and that's like that's like Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. You know, look at how long he's been there, and you know they start doing stuff with him, and then they knock it off. You know, that's
Right.
like he was in the title picture with MJF, and he had that one title match, and then they just killed it off. You know, I understand not want to overdo something, but they're taking these guys, and basically what it boils down to is the buddy system.
Right.
You know, the Bucks are whatever they are, the company. They're in Tony Khan's back pocket. So they're going to do what they want to do, and they're going to put these guys over, and they have no actual booker. It's basically the guys running and doing what they want to do.
Right. You know, and here's something else I seen last night. Wardlow, they spent 2 months, 2.5 months rebuilding him once again for like the fucking 5th time probably. Just to have Joe choke him out on TV. I'm not saying Joe shouldn't have choked him out, but if it had been me, I think that's a match you could have main evented a pay-per-view with. It just makes sense. You got these two big monsters. Obviously, Joe's doing some of the best stuff I think he's done since some of his early career. Mm-hmm. Joe's over, man. He's over everywhere right now. He's the best talker AEW's got. He's the most believable wrestler they've got out there right now. You believe Joe when you see him, and I just think they just wasted Wardlow once again, because here's the thing. You can only get – people's only going to get behind a talent so many times, and you jerk the rug out from under them until eventually they don't care, because they know what's the use getting behind this guy, because you're going to put him over for a couple months and then you're going to kill him off right immediately. It's never going to go nowhere. Once again, bad booking. Why, man? You could have like Cornette says, you could have stole the pay-per-view with Joe and Wardlow for sure. Probably done decent numbers with it because it's there. You know, Joe is that over. Wardlow's a big-ass dude, muscle-bound dude. People want to see that, but now it's done for on TV for free, dude. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they should have waited a little bit, like you said. Maybe pushed it. Because I didn't watch. Did they already have the actual match?
They had it on Dynamite at Big Business last night.
Okay, I understand trying to get ratings on that, but I'm like you. Why not push that story a little bit further, that angle a little bit further to that pay-per-view?
Right. It's I don't know, man. Like I said, I believe they're the worst book company in the history of pro wrestling. Brian Rogers is with us. He said, "What's up, guys? What's up, Brian?
What's up, Hayne?"
So look, my next big bone of contention with AEW last night, obviously, Sasha Banks, which I'm going to stick with Sasha Banks, because I wrote last night that Sasha Banks was better as Sasha Banks. Look, I will say this. They give her a bigger and better intro than they did Okada a debut. Okada's debut was the shit, man. I mean, they just basically played his music and dropped some dollars and brought him out. Her debut was better. They treated it better, but at the end, man, here's my question. What'd she do to her face?
I don't know.
She looks like an alien. I swear she's had some work done around her nose and stuff in her eyes. She does not look like the same chick. And she was over, but she was also in her home state, hometown, or whatever. So obviously she's going to be over. Here's the problem with that. Who is she really going to work? You got Toni Storm. Paige does not work, and I don't know that can work enough. Toni Storm, with the gimmick she's doing now, her work's different. You know,
Yep.
she don't work to mesh up with Sasha Banks, I don't think, because one of these two, it's kind of like Wardlow and Joe. If you put them together, somebody's got to fall. You know, somebody's got to be elevated a little bit, and in turn, a lot of times you can find ways to even elevate the loser from where they were.
Mm-hmm.
But these are two gimmicks that I just don't see meshing very well. I like Toni Storm. I think if she was doing what she's doing now in WWE, it'd be much better because they would really set her up in sets and scenes like she's in old 30s nightclubs and old time Hollywood movie showings and stuff like that, where basically AEW just black and whites her and lets her talk funny. You know,
Right. Yep.
WWE would accentuate what she's going for, and I think it'd be a lot with the gimmick. But and then you got Riho, man. Can we get rid of this chick? I mean, honestly, dude. Look, she went against Willow last night, and here's the thing about Willow: she's too good, she's too big, and she's too over to be. Even though she did beat Riho last night, but it was also a 10, 12-minute match, and she sold all of this shit for Rio. When I'm ready to see this chick go. It's time for her to go back to Japan or whatever she was doing. It's just not believable, and it kills off everybody she goes against, dude.
Yeah, you got a bunch of them like that. You know, they'll bring him over, and the ones that you really think is going to make an impact or be in the spot, they don't give it to them. They give it to the ones that's not making that, you know, that wave or that impact. You know, like you said with Riho. You know,
she looks like when I say a kid, I literally mean a 12, 13-year-old girl out there wrestling. It's just, it defeats the purpose. Here's the thing. It defeats the fucking purpose. Nobody believes it when she wins. Just because they pop, the only reason them fans pop and cheer for it is because they know that's what you want them to do and they're supposed to do. That's the only reason, man. I'm ready for her to be gone for sure, dude. And Deonna Purrazzo, what are they doing with her? You know, she come in and they tried to make a big deal out of it, but to me, it fell short somewhere. And honestly, I think a lot of it's got to do with her being paired up with Toni Storm with Tony's gimmick. Tony's gimmick is one of them gimmicks that's not conducive to really in the ring work. Like her whole gimmick she's got now in style. And the sad thing is she's a hell of a worker. She's badass.
Absolutely.
She's badass in the ring. She looks good. She's athletic. She's talented. And I do like the gimmick, but it's a gimmick. And it's all gimmick. You know what I mean? It's all gimmick. And I think just putting them, it's an Edge and Christian thing. I think just putting them two together right off the bat, maybe you should have brought Deonna in and give her a few girls to beat to build up and work her way to this match with Toni Storm since they got all this history, you know?
Yeah.
So look.
Yeah, I agree, because it could have been one of them things, you know, like you said with Edge and Christian, you know, Edge got to where he stated, you know, he just wasn't happy with the WWE no more. You know, it's time for him to go and go to AEW, you know, and be happy again, you know, being in there and work with Christian and stuff. But I'm like you, there should have been some type of build up for it.
Or they should have teamed them together for a while, 3 months, reunite Edge and Christian, maybe bring back the 5-second pose, or say if they can't use that, the 6-second pose. So you kind of get people back into them and rebuild their connection to these new fans, and then have Christian turn. You know, or maybe even have Edge turn instead of Christian. Here's the thing. Christian is equally as talented as Edge. I love Christian. He's one of the best fucking workers out there, one of the best wrestlers out there. He's good at everything. But from a where they stand in the business standpoint, Edge is up here and Christian is like here. Christian is upper mid-card. Edge is a star. He's been treated like a star. My belief is if Edge hadn't had to quit when he did, he probably would have been the biggest star in the wrestling business. Him and John Cena been the feud. It would have been the new Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, or whatever, because, man, look, here's the thing. You don't get no cooler than the rated R superstar. That's almost as cool as the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. He looked like a fucking rock star. He's a big guy. He can work his ass off. He can kind of do everything. Man, if he hadn't had to quit when he did, I think Edge, the whole wrestling landscape for WWE would have looked different.
Yep.
Look, we got Big Mike's on here. He says, hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Big Mike? Glad you're with us. Look, any of y'all watching, if y'all got some questions or some comments, send them in. We ain't doing nothing right now but just talking wrestling and having fun. So look, Vinnie Mac. I know I'm like, look, I know I'm about 2 months late on this shit, but I don't never get to talk wrestling like this. I never get to do this. So talk to me about Vince, Blaze. Tell me what your opinion on Vinnie Mac is.
Man, it's one of them things. I know how to take it, but it's one of them things you don't want to believe, because Vince has been around the business for so long, and revolutionized the wrestling industry, but it's one of them things too. Now, when you look at it, the shit he used to come out there and do on TV, right. I'm like, yeah. I said I wouldn't put it past him.
He's been giving us hints all these years.
It's one of them things too, to where everybody's Vince is at fault for what he's done. I feel that way. He's at fault, but there's these women too who are saying he done all these things, money, this and this. They, unless he was forcing them, they still have that chance to say no, so they're just as much at fault as he is.
Well, here's the thing. From what I understand about it, the check was fine until the check quit coming.
Exactly.
That's my thing. And here's something else too. Now, look, I do believe there ain't no doubt in my mind that there's some things went on there, but I also believe some of this shit is just way over exaggerated. I believe some of it's an exaggeration. I'm not saying Vince didn't do what she said he done. I'm just saying he didn't do all that shit he's trying to say he does, like the defecation and stuff. I just don't believe that. And I don't believe none of this shit's happening in WWE headquarters. I may be wrong. I've never been there, but you're talking about a global company traded on the stock market. I mean, people going in and out all the time. Where did Vince have this? Where did he have this sex room built at? You know what I mean? I just look. Obviously there is some. Vince did some things, but I also believe there's some exaggeration too. Look, Blaze, Brian Rogers is back with us. And he says, "What do y'all think about the debut of 100 Wrestling, dude? I'll tell you what, man. Drawed a hell of a crowd, man. I hadn't really got to see much footage of the actual show, the matches, but." Man, the one thing Jamie J seems to always be able to do, especially around Wynn and that territory, he can always put asses in seats, man. They got their next show coming up May 4th. And so I guess that's when we'll see, man. We'll see if the crowd comes back. If they come back, it is what it is, dude. He's always been able to draw people right there around his vicinity. Wynn, he's always drawn crowds. Have you seen any of it, Blaze?
I have not. That's what I was wondering last night. I tuned in last night, when Phil was on, and y'all started talking Jamie J and the 100 Wrestling and stuff, and I'm like, what is this 100 Wrestling that everybody's talking about? It's not knocking nobody. Me personally, I haven't seen anything on it,
Right. I hadn't actually seen very little footage of the actual matches. I've seen more crowd footage than anything else, fan footage of the crowd and a little bit of some of the action, but not enough to really see how the show was. Everything I've heard about it from the guys, I heard it was a good show, man, a really good show. So, who knows? Brian's back and he says, I haven't either, but I will get a up close view on the next one. Oh, Brian, are you working on the next one? I'm assuming that's what that means. should be a good show, man. It's like I said, Jamie J always puts on good shows. He's a good promoter, man. He's got plenty of sponsors. And his community supports him. His community gets behind him big time. So, I guess time will tell. I like the fact that he's only running every couple of months right now. It's one thing to have a big show and a big crowd, and then you're in your head, you think, oh shit, I need to come back next week or 2 weeks or even next month sometime. But sometimes it's better to test them waters and just see. You run in too quick, you'll be right back out of business.
Right. That's like with the Quake at the Lake deal. It's we do it once a year, at the Arts and Crafts Festival, but I want to get to where I can do shows leading up to that,
Right.
And have that show, particularly as my big blow off show or whatever, maybe even if it's just not every week, but once a month, so I don't burn the crowd out on it,
Right.
And then I see how it's going to draw, and all that stuff before I consider trying to go to a weekly or bi-weekly show or something like that,
I used to be a huge proponent of weekly shows, but truth be told, you really only need a weekly show if you're doing television is your best weekly show, because at a weekly show, you got to tell that story every single week, and it gets hard running a weekly show year after year, man, of coming up with what to do next. And eventually you got to you get burnt out. I know you do, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Brian and them with PPW, Premier Pro Wrestling, they kind of changed my concept of, if I was going to run a show, I would probably go once a month too. At the minimum of once a month, maybe even once every couple months starting out, just to see, because here's the thing, it gives you more time to promote your show, gives you more time to put it together, gives you more time to make sure it's the product you want to put out. And here's the big issue. Say you run once a month and you draw 250 people. Say you run 4 times a month and you still only draw 250 people that total time. Or let's say you draw 300 people, 50 more people over the whole month than you do just running your once a month show. Is it really worth going in these towns and setting your ring up and down every week for 50 more people? It's not. It's better to run that once a month show and draw that 250 than it is to run 4 shows and draw 300 total over them. It just makes more sense, and it gives you more time to promote and market your show too, dude.
Yep.
So look, we're on WWE right now. We touched on Vinnie Mac, so let's touch on TKO, man. First time in history. WWE, not really WWE anymore, man. Completely owned by somebody else. I mean, Vince is still... They say he ain't got no power, but his stock says he still has power. He may not can come out in public and voice it, but behind the scenes, he still got power in the WWE. I know he sold a bunch of his stock here last week, and I'm assuming that's what TKO wants anyway. They want him to sell as much of it, if not all of it. That way he's completely gone. What's your thoughts on TKO taking over WWE, man?
It's different for sure, It's different, if you got these guys like TKO, and Tony Khan, who, to my knowledge, has never had anything to do with the wrestling business, taking over these wrestling shows and saying that, we're going to do this way and that way, and this way and that way, when they don't know the first damn thing about wrestling.
Right.
They might know a little bit, but they don't know how the overall product should be done. That's why I'm kind of glad that they kept Triple H on board, for creativity and stuff, So there's just somebody there that knows how it should be, presented.
Right. I'll be honest with you. I like some of they're making changes. Some of them are obviously they're going to a little more edgier product again, which I'll be honest with you. I know that the sponsors, you're going to lose a few sponsors doing that, but in turn, man, look at the Attitude Era. Them ones you lose, I feel like you're going to gain some different ones that you don't have now because they're too kid friendly. And look, man, it's been 20 years since the Attitude Era, and we had adult style wrestling, it's time for it to come back, in my opinion. And I like the way I like that Kevin Dunn's gone. I like the new. It feels more like a real sporting event, the way they're kind of going about it and shooting it. It's still pro wrestling, but it feels almost a little UFC-ish. You know, it's got a little different energy. They got The Rock back now. The Rock's out here fucking on TV and shit and cutting these promos and stuff, dude. You know, talk to me about that. What do you think about The Rock being back after all this time, man?
I like it. It's something, it's always good to see the older guys like that, the people that you watch, or I watched, growing up, come back into the scene, as long as it's done right,
Right.
They don't make it into something stupid or something, And like with The Rock, I feel like there's this big story there, they're doing the stuff with where he was kind of against Roman, and now he's kind of with Roman, so everybody's on the fence. Is he gonna be 100% with Roman, or when the time comes, is the Roman or The Rock? Is one of them gonna screw the other one over?
Right.
And I kind of think that's what it's going to lead up to and boil down to, because they're doing this whole, head of the table stuff,
Right.
So I feel like it's going to boil down. It's going to eventually come down to it where it's going to be Roman and Rock for the head of the table, but I honestly don't think it needs to be for the title.
Right. I'll be honest with you, dude. I'm like The Rock. Fuck Cody Rhodes and his story, man. I mean, it's just, it's run, to me, it's run its course, man. And here's what really glares out to me about The Rock being back. It shows you just how not big of stars our stars now really are. As big as, look, I love Roman Reigns in his incarnation right now. I think that the tribal chief is the best fucking thing he's ever done. I think it fits him to the T. But there's no denying when The Rock's out there with any of them, who the fucking real star really is. And it ain't just because he's been a movie star. He's just cooler. He's cooler than everybody else. It's as simple as that, man. Still to this day, here's the thing. Stone Cold kind of ushered a new era into wrestling, and then The Rock come along right after Stone Cold or right during, and kind of took wrestling to another level. And now he's back 20 years later doing it once again. He's changing wrestling once again, and he's making it. I feel like he's going to make it must-see TV again, dude.
Yeah, it's one of them things, like you said, he's back. He's doing, he's doing good work and stuff, but I understand people getting, especially the guys in the locker room and stuff, getting mad when these older guys come back and they instantly go into the spot. But a lot of them have earned that spot. They were stars before they were stars when they were there. They were stars when they left, and they're stars now that they're back.
Right. And here's the thing: it goes back to the guys who wanted to be on the Hogan shows or wanted to work with Hogan. Well, look, I know all these guys are under these contracts, but you can't tell me when you in there with The Rock and you have a killer match, there ain't some bonus. You ain't getting a bigger bonus than the guy who was the next match down or in with the next guy. You ain't getting the same bonus with Cody Rhodes as you're going to get with The Rock. It's just,
right.
I mean,
and that's one of them things too I look at, yeah, you can go and do the stuff with Roman and Cody and say they do book it to where Cody takes the title off of Roman, but where do you go from there? Who do you put Cody with that people are going to want to see after that?
Babyface champions are really only good for the night they win the title. Once they've won that motherfucker, what do you do with them, man? It's hard. It's better to have a good heel champion and a good babyface chasing him. In my opinion, that's where the money is. Once the babyface wins, you done kind of give the payoff. You done did the blow off. It's where do you go from there? And here's the thing. I don't think Cody Rhodes is a babyface. I think his biggest stardom is when he turns heel. Here's something. Dusty Rhodes, the quintessential. Now, in his younger days, he was heel, but once the American Dream kind of clicked, he was a babyface. perennial babyface from that point on. So instead of Cody trying to follow in that babyface thing, it makes sense to me where the American Nightmare could be over here and be the biggest, most over heel maybe that the wrestling business has ever seen. Because when you watch Cody out in the ring, he's arrogant. No matter how humble he's trying to be, just his mannerisms, his cadence, his demeanor, it's like he's got his nose in there. He's better than you. You feel it coming off of him. So, I mean, to me, that's where the real, if Cody's going to be the biggest star in the wrestling business, it's going to be as a heel. It's not going to be as a babyface.
You know, that's like the, that's like Bloodline story, you know, the stuff with the Usos and Roman and Solo and all that. Now they're talking, you know, Jimmy versus Jay at Mania. You know, I'm at the point where, like probably most people are, leave that crap alone. You know, leave it alone. You know, that's done ran its course, and you're kind of, you're gonna have them go at it, but it's kind of what you're doing to a point or to a T with Roman and Rock right now.
Right.
So it's kind of like they're, you know, Roman and Rock are doing the head of the table stuff, you know, trying to figure that out, who's going to be the head of the table, to where Jimmy and Jay are kind of still doing the Bloodline stuff, which kind of, to me, ties into the Rock and them, you know.
Right. Kind of overlapping each other, you know, kind of mirroring the same shit. And here, look, here's the thing about Cody. To me, he's the evil Bruce Wayne. Think about this. Cody is the super villain. He could be the evil super villain. Instead of Batman being a good guy, here's Cody. When he becomes his superhero version, he's a super villain. Here's something else. Think about this. I don't know if they'll ever get her out there. Jade Cargill. If you stuck Cody as a heel, as a super villain, and you put Jade Cargill with him as a super villain and made them a pair, man, think about that, man. She looks like a fucking X-Men. She looks like she should be one of the stars on X-Men. Cody looks like he like I said, to me, he's the evil Bruce Wayne, man. He's all the dress, even in his ring attire with them outfits and the robes, the British looking style shit. Here's the thing. Dusty was a man of the people. Cody's not a man of the people. You know, to me, I just don't feel it. I feel like his star is going to really shine if he ever gets to turn heel. Whether they're going to let him, who knows nowadays, because, I mean, the WWE is so damn big, man, and you got so much going on. Sometimes I don't know how they keep up with it themselves, dude.
And, you know, that's something talking about with Cody, too, you know, talking about him wanting to complete, you know, finish the story. You know, he talks about finishing the story, you know, finishing Dusty's story where Dusty was never the world champ or whatever it is, you know. I think that would have went over more, like you said, as him as a heel, you know, to where he felt like his family was screwed out of it and stuff, you know, and he was out for vengeance, you know.
Right. I think it could still work. I think he could get fed up of coming up short in his story. And I think that could be the catalyst for you to see the heel, the turn with Cody Rhodes. And here's the thing. I won't know until we've seen him, but maybe a heel Cody Rhodes would be on the same par with The Rock, you know, because it's a different dynamic. Here's the thing. I feel like Cody's out there saying shit that he don't really fully believe. I feel like he's out there saying stuff that he knows the fans want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm this, I'm that. We're all here together. What do you want to talk about? I'm so sick of hearing what the fuck you want to talk about, man. It's already dead. But I'm like you. I think he should go the opposite route. If he's gonna get that world belt, to me, I'd want it to be as a heel, because then he's the guy. Then you got people to chase him. Look, his reign as a babyface world champion, like you said, where do they go from here? After that, who wrestles Cody Rhodes?
Yeah,
he's not Hulk Hogan, so you can't just bring these like Earthquake and these different guys in, Big Boss Man, one after another, and get good long programs with them that draw money, because Cody's not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
you know?
not only that, you know, you look at the list of guys that Roman has beaten as his time as champion and over the years. And then, I'm not saying Cody's not up there, but you take Cody and you put the belt on, bring him back, put the belt on him, then you just basically crapped on all those guys that Roman beat.
Right. I'm like you. I don't know if The Rock will ever get the belt. I think, for some reason, what I see happening is The Rock becoming the head of the table, and Roman Reigns turning babyface as the champion.
I mean, that could happen, or it could be one of them things too, where they have, if they do speaking, if they do put the title on Cody at Mania or whatever the plan is, The Rock instantly, if they put the title on The Rock instantly takes it from him.
Right.
They do it to where one of them things where, Roman's supposed to be the head of the table, he loses, and that causes The Rock and him to kind of get back into it,
Right.
To where Rock says, you lost something, that was valuable to us. Now I gotta go get it back,
Right. So look, dude, wrestling. What you want to talk about, man? I've kind of led the topic so far. What's on your mind? Any wrestling? It could be local wrestling, big time wrestling, anything, dude.
Man, let's talk some indie wrestling for a minute.
Let's go, dude. What's up?
There's you're talking about, you talk about the Quake at the Lake show, you talk about these shows that run once a month or run every so often, so many months, something like that. There's, and I try to keep up with everything that's going on, in the area.
Right.
Who's doing what, which guy's doing this, who's standing out above everybody and stuff like that. And one show that is coming up is Poker Face's show.
Millington Mayhem.
Millington Mayhem, and he does it once a year, and he always has a good turnout.
Right. I do see some footage from them shows, and it's always looks like Poker Face is always going to put on a professional show, man. It's as simple as that. I honestly wish he would run more than once a year. I would like to see that thing become a 3-time a year thing. I think Poker Face could really do something.
I'd like to see him do a little bit more with it, but it's like you said, it's one of them things where he probably don't want to burn the people out on it, And then
right. I think every 4 months you'd be good. And I think he could. I actually think if he maybe did it 3 times a year, I think it might actually help the main Millington Mayhem. Like, I would keep that as my big show, but maybe do 2 other shows that were big shows too, but not the franchise. Obvious Millington Mayhem to me would be the franchise show. That'd be like his version of WrestleMania. We do it, and then we do 2 shows with the aftermath and the build up to the next Millington Mayhem. And I'd like to see where that would go, dude.
Yeah, because poker's been around the business for a long time, and he shows he knows what he's doing, and he, like you said, he puts on professional shows every year, and I'd like, I'm just one of them people, I'd like to see, like you said, maybe a little bit more off of it, and just see how where it goes.
Right. What else, Blaze? What else? That's about, man?
In all honesty, I know I know he's gotten older and stuff, but man, when I sit there and I watch Poker Face, and I watch Brood and guys like that, man, they can still get in there and go.
Right. Yes.
And that's for me. When me and my brother were tagging, and even still to this day, if it could ever be possible, that's been a bucket list match of mine. Is the Ray Boys and Naughty by Nature, just because I grew up, from the time I was little watching, Poker Face and Brood, and then there was, Tully was with them there for a while,
Right.
But it
was actually Tully and Rude and then Poker Face, wasn't it?
Right, yeah. I want to say that's right. But that's always been a bucket list match of mine.
Right. It'd be a hell of a match too, dude.
Just because I've watched them, and I respect everybody, But Pokerface and Rude, and other guys in this business, I have the utmost respect for because I watch them, and that's kind of okay. When I get in the business, I don't want to be exactly like them, but I want to be similar, something
Right.
because Poker and Rude carried the area, the tag team division for the longest,
Right.
Then that was my I can't speak for my brother, but that was my goal, when we started tagging, I wanted to be up there, I wanted to be talked about in that sense, maybe not necessarily the same picture as Naughty by Nature, but right there with them,
Right.
like remembered on up there with them,
Well, look, man, let's talk about your brother for a minute, man. I notice he got a death clutch on that title at Pro Wrestling Mid South. Tell me what's been going on with him, dude.
Man, he a little while back, probably about a month or so ago, maybe a little bit longer. He did end up losing the title.
Did he?
He did.
When did-
He
Man,
lost it. It was let's see, we got. I'm trying to think. We just had breakups and beat down. We had Storm there, and then we had breakups and beat downs. It was somewhere around there. It was January, February. He lost the title to Thud Powell, and then he went on the chase. Went on the chase for it, and he won it. He got it back.
So,
and now
so
he got it.
Is he the champion again, or is he not
Yes,
the champion?
he is the current unified heavyweight champion again.
Okay, I had Greg on last week, and I was telling him, man, Pro Wrestling Mid South is the one company that I have the hardest time keeping up with, just because there's not a lot of footage out there. Not a lot of footage gets out of Pro Wrestling Mid South, and me and Greg talked about that, and he told me his reasoning of why he don't really like a lot of footage. And hey, I understand that. That's old school stuff. And here's the thing. That's like, let me ask you this: Does Greg have a announcer while the matches are going on, like calling the matches?
No.
I
go and I'll do the
announcing
I'll lead the show off with the announcements, and do the crowd hype up, get them ready, riled up and stuff, and then we'll go in our first matches. I'll introduce the guys, then when the match is over, I'll announce your winner.
Right. See, that's old school too, man. Back in the day, if it wasn't a TV, man, you'd get your ass if you were over at the announcer stand or whatever, and you tried to do some commentating at a house show, you'd get your ass chewed right out immediately. They tell you shut up right now because we don't need it here. We tell our own stories. We don't need you telling the story. It's not TV, man. And I kind of figured Greg would be like that about it with the announcer stuff. I meant to ask you that when we were first opened up and you were talking about the announcer thing. I kind of figured that, man. That's old school, traditional mentality for wrestling, man. Look, Eric J's back, and he said, I'm looking forward to the AHCW show in April, Stack Card. Eric, I'll actually be at that show, man. I'm actually going to be doing commentary with West Coast Mike, man. Tagging back up with my announce partner, dude. I really enjoy. That's something that I don't like being the straight man. I like being color because it allows me to say whatever I want to say. When I do color, I think Bobby Heenan. I'm out to just make random shit up, and it's the straight man's guy to say, hey, Buster, quit lying to these fans. You just straight up telling lies out here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's color. Man, it's so much freedom. You can just pretty much say whatever you want. And it's the straight man's job to kind of reel it back in so the fans know fact and fiction somewhat, I'm looking forward to it, dude. It's April 13th. It's in Campbell, Missouri. AHCW, first show back in, hell, year and a half, maybe even closer to 2 years now.
Somewhere in there, yep.
I'm hoping after this one they kick back off and start running more shows again. AHCW is always one of the best companies around our area. They always book some of the best talent around, organized, professional, always running good shows, man. Mark Manley's one of the one of the best at running wrestling shows around our area, man. It's just simple as that, dude. So your brother's back being the champion now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, had a long run. I mean, obviously you said he lost it and won it back, but how long, let's forget about him losing it. How long has he actually held that title? When did he actually win it?
Oh man, it was sometime last year. I'm trying to remember the exact time frame. Like it was let's see. I want to say he was close to a year,
That's what I thought. I knew
he
he
was
held
close
that
to
belt a long time.
to a year almost.
Yeah,
And
man,
then,
that's
like I said, he lost it to Thud Powell, and then he regained it, and now he is running an angle with JD Wolf.
I like JD, man. I've got to watch him a bunch live when he worked at TIWF in Trenton, man. I like JD. Big guy, a bull of a guy, man.
Oh yeah, that's what I like about it. I can, even though I'm there, and I'm commentating and I'm live, I'm like, okay, here we go. We're gonna have these two big bulls, and that's how I put it over. These two in our main event. Two bulls are fixing to lock horns. Because that's what they are. You got
Right.
JD, who's 6 foot something, 300 something plus pounds. And then Brandon's 300 pounds, a little more. And they're gonna go out there and they're gonna lock horns and go at it.
Dude, I didn't realize how big Brandon was until I met him at the Premier Pro Show, and we were standing next to each other, and I'm like, damn. I mean, he's a big dude. He's tall. I think he's probably about at least an inch taller than me, but man, he's thick. He's a thick guy from chest to back, from shoulder to shoulder. Big guy. You don't realize how big he is until you're standing next to him, and man, he's a big fucking dude, man.
Yeah, he's stocky for sure, and that's what what a lot of people, put over too with him. He's stocky, and to be a bigger guy, he can move in the ring, he can work with the big guys, work the power, or he can go out there and match speed with the young guys, or the small guys.
Right.
I've always put it over, when I do talk about him, and other people said this, he's as strong as a bull and as light as a cruiserweight, like moving wise and stuff.
Right. Yeah, he's a big guy, and I have seen a little of his stuff. Like I said, Pro Wrestling Mid-South is the hardest promotion around here to get footage of, man. I see ever so often, I'll see one of the guys here and there post, and it's usually only their match. It ain't like you go in and you can go somewhere and get the whole card, every match. So you get little glimpses. I get little glimpses, man. I enjoyed having Greg on because we got to talk about Pro Wrestling Mid-South and got everything from the horse's mouth,
Yeah.
No secondhand information, man. And we clicked pretty good, man. I was a little worried when we had that show because, like I told Greg, you hear these two different versions about Greg Anthony, and I figured we would gel because, look, I think I'm a little more. Some of my things may be a little more modern at the way I look at wrestling, but at the heart of wrestling, I knew that we believed in the same basic traditions of pro wrestling, how it should be done, how it should be presented. I figured we would click on that, man, and we did. I had a great time with him, man. We're going to be back on, let me see. Y'all got the big Destruction in Dresden show.
Yep, that's coming up May 3rd.
Is it May 3rd? Okay. Let me see. April. I got Greg and Greg back on Thursday, April 2nd, dude, is what it is. May 2nd, Thursday, May 2nd. The day before the show. I'm in Dresden, so I've been looking forward to this, man. I knew about the show before it even the flyer got out because my kids go to the Dresden Middle School and they come home. My daughter said, "Hey, Daddy, gonna be wrestling at our school." She didn't know what it was, who it was going to be. She just said they're going to be wrestling at our school, and then the next day I seen the flyer pop out. You know,
Yeah, there were we got approached by one of the coaches. He's there every week. His son was one of the trainees. That are coming through. That's getting work matches and stuff now. And he was talking about us doing a fundraiser stuff for the longest. And then they finally got through to the school. Got it approved and everything's in the works. And now here we are. May 3rd, we'll be at Dresden.
well, now this is not the first time Pro Wrestling Mid South actually ran Dresden. I know it's been a while. Probably, I think it's been a good while, but there used to be a place up here called the McWhirter Civic Center. And years ago, I seen my mom and them moved here in like 1997. Of course, we didn't move here until after my mom and dad died. Right before my mom died, we moved up here. But I used to see Pro Wrestling Mid South cards, like when we'd be up here in the gas stations, it'd be at the McWhirter Civic Center up here, man. So I'm looking forward to it, dude. And thank God, man. Wait, maybe y'all can raise a bunch of money so the school get out of my pocket, man.
Well, that's the goal, and I know the coach, personally. He used to coach back down there, where me and my brother's from, down there in Lake County and stuff. So I know him personally. We talk about it quite a bit and stuff, and they're excited and pumped up instead of school, and the kids are excited and everybody's wanting tickets and they're expecting a sellout,
Oh yeah, I believe
they're expecting us to pack it out.
I think it'll be packed, dude. It's the first time. Like, we've lived here 8 years, and wrestling's not been here the whole time we've lived here. So it's been at least 8 years since wrestling's been in Dresden. So I think it'll be a big deal, man. Hopefully it'll turn into another one somewhere down the line, or maybe even open doors at some of these other schools around our area, to go in there, because that used to be a big thing. Lawler and them used to make a killing and help a lot of schools raise money because at the time they were the ones who always did the schools. After USWA went out and stuff, what happened was all these whatever promotions got a chance, and a lot of them just either screwed over the school, screwed up the facility. Just bad impression, and it's hard to get in schools now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see that that Pro Wrestling Mid South's getting in some. Hey, Premier Pro, I'm pretty sure they've got some at least 1 or 2 school shows maybe coming up soon.
I know they usually do Bradford.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm glad to see some of these schools opening their doors, and especially the good quality companies. Here's the thing. You open the door and you let a bad company in, that door gets shut again and maybe never gets opened. You open the door this time, you got good, organized, professional companies in there running the shows, bringing quality pro wrestling to them and helping them make money. Them doors are going to open, because it's just like anything else. This school is going to say there's going to be another school over here looking to raise money, and they're going to know somebody at this school say, well, how did the wrestling do? Or somebody at this school is going to say, hey, you ought to try the wrestling, man. We had them here, had a great time. Everybody loved it, and we made a lot of money for the school.
And that's how it is. And talking about a bad apple spoiling it for everybody. It's kind of how it is, or how it's been here lately. Over where we run Quake at the Lake in Tiptonville. There for the longest, when I was growing up, you had some type of wrestling going on in Tiptonville originally. In Lake County.
Right.
Somewhere, and then there over the years, it got to where cops were being called, and people were fighting, or stuff was going on that shouldn't have been going on, and then it ruined it to everybody,
Right.
So now I'm trying to, talking about wanting to run once a month, I'm trying to bring that back, if I can get in somewhere down there in Tiptonville and do it the right way, and give the community something to do, and something to look forward to, where they're going to be like, hey, I ain't got to go over here and worry about, the cops being called or somebody, doing something they're not supposed to. I can go and watch, live professional wrestling,
Right.
give them something to do, and take their mind off of whatever might be going on,
Yeah, man, it's good. It's been so long since there's been a lot of positive wrestling around places that, and I'll say this, dude, I'm seeing an upswing. I am seeing some of these bad companies fade out, and I'm seeing these good companies rise up in their spots, man, like it should be, dude. And look, man, bad companies make the whole wrestling business look bad.
Exactly.
Good companies make the whole wrestling business look good to people. So it's rough, man. It's hard. People don't realize that, like you say, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch, dude.
Yeah, because like you said, you may have this company that's over here doing something, wrong or bad, and then somebody else be like, hey, well, won't you come check us out? We're different. No, I think I'm good. And that's because that bad apple ruined it for them,
Right.
When all companies, when all of us guys, in the business stuff are not necessarily the bad apples, it's that one bad apple that ruins it for the rest of us.
Right. It's tough out there, man. Blaze, dude, we're going to have to wrap it down. We're about 4 minutes from the allotted time, dude. Man, I've had a blast, dude. This has been one of my favorite shows because I never get to just talk wrestling, man. It's always
I've had a blast.
Focused on something else, dude. Look, man, be safe, dude.
I'm doing my best.
I mean, really, I think we need to get you a bubble wrap suit that you put on before you go out, man.
I'm definitely trying because it's one of the things where you was asking about my return to the ring or if I'm ever going to get back in there. I'm not going to sit here and say no. I'm not going to say that because I'm dead. It's one of them things like I'm dead set on making a return. I just got to get them fingers taken care of and get a few things in order, and then I'm coming full force.
Dude, I hope you get well. I hope your fingers heal up good, and I hope nothing else happens to you, man, between now and that re-debut, dude.
Yeah, because I've sat here, and I've been out this long, so I'm kind of at that point where I've watched moments and opportunities, just pass me by, and I can't do that no more. I'm one of them ones now where I've got that mindset, I'm going to come over and I'm taking my spot back at the top of the throne. You can either get on board or get out of the way.
And that's the wrestling business right there. Blaze, been my pleasure, my friend. We'll get together as it gets closer to the Quake in the Lake, and we'll get a show set up to the week of to promote it real good and stuff and run down the card, dude. Man, my pleasure. I've had a blast with you tonight, dude. You have a great night, my friend.
Yes, sir. You too. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. You seen it right there. Blaze Ray had a good show, injury update, Quake at the Lake, and then we just talked wrestling, guys. Look, I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I want to thank everybody who commented. Next week, guys, we got 3 shows starting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You don't want to miss these shows. They're going to be good, all starting at 7 p.m. Thank every one of y'all for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no No, I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show